home field advantage. And as always, brought to you by Liuna Laborers Local 663, reminding all of us, hey, drive safely in those work zones. Those folks want to go home to their families as well. Also presented by Great Southern Bank. Great Southern Bank with more than 100 locations in 6 states. Great Southern Bank, member FDIC. Welcome to the Missouri Sports Network, now making his inaugural appearance, Father Harry Schroeder from ValleyHoopsInsider.com. Harry, thanks so much for your time today.
Glad to do it, Duke. Looking forward to getting to know more about you guys and, have fun today.
Yeah. Obviously, maybe the best guy to talk to when it comes to Missouri Valley Conference. And obviously, here in Missouri, it's Missouri State University. They get a win last night over Lindenwood, kind of a dominating victory there. They do have an ejection in the game, but we're early on in the conference season. The Bears are 1-1. As you kind of handicap the conference, any surprises here early on?
I think, how great Indiana State has been is a little bit of a surprise. How bad Murray State has been is a little bit of a surprise. The Bears obviously have been a team that's been a little up and down. I really loved what Dana did in terms of his schedule, but they've lost some games they shouldn't have lost, if you evaluate them that way. And so they're kind of a little bit of a mystery still who the Bears are going to be. Obviously, Alston Mason was spectacular on Tuesday night, and I think he's really going to be a star in the league. I talked to Dana about that preseason. I just thought it was his time to arise and shine. And so I think the Missouri Valley race is going to be spectacular. I still think there's 4 or 5 teams that could win the league because of if Bradley's had some injury problems, if they get healthy, if the Bears get consistent. Obviously, Indiana State and Drake are spectacular right now. I think it could be just a fun Missouri Valley Conference race.
That loss at Tulsa,
Yep.
for the Bears, a 10-point lead with 4 minutes to go. I think they had as much as a 6-point lead, with 145, 150 to go, and then they get outscored 7-0 down the stretch there and lose a tough one there. What did you learn about the Bears, and maybe what did they learn about themselves in that game on the road at Tulsa?
Well, obviously the big factor for them is Matthew Lee's health. Their point guard is so important to them. Matthew Lee is a veteran guy, helped that St. Peter's team go to the Sweet 16. And they're a much better basketball team when Matthew Lee's in the lineup. And he just hasn't been. He played a couple games injured and he wasn't as effective. Their offense wasn't very good. Now he's missed a couple of games since then, and their offense still is spotty because he's the guy that gets them where they need to be offensively. And so the biggest deal to me is whether or not Matthew Lee is healthy. It's kind of like with Bradley. If Connor Hickman's healthy, then Bradley's going to fight for the title. If Matthew Lee is healthy, then the Bears will fight for the title. I think it's that cut and dried because they have the rest of the pieces. N.J. Benson is emerging in a great way, and obviously Mason has been terrific, and Moore is playing better defense this year, Chance Moore, and so he's able to contribute in a more routine fashion. I think the Bears have all the ingredients if Matthew Lee is healthy.
Coming up here as we head into the Christmas time, going into that second half, what are some games maybe down the stretch, or not down the stretch, but here in the middle of the season that the Bears, if they win that game, if they say they win at Drake or they win, what's a game you're going to point to and say, hey, this is what we know that they're going to compete for this conference title?
Well, I think for the Bears, it's not really a game, Duke. I think what really is about what we've seen while Dana's been there, and I'm just a gigantic Dana Ford fan, they're a team that can go beat anybody and can go lose to anybody. What I'm looking for the Bears is to string something together, some real consistency. We've seen them be inconsistent for the last couple of years, some great highs and then some confusing lows, not even like terrible, just confusing. Like, how did they lose that game? Why did they win there but lose there? And I think it's that consistency thing that I'm really looking for from the Bears rather than, a pivotal moment, because we've seen those pivotal moments, but then seen them lose the momentum from those moments in the last couple of years.
Again, visiting with www.valleyhoopsinsider.com, Father Harry Schroeder. What are some things you're working on right now at the website? I went in, I noticed you had to spend some time with Art Haynes, who's a very close friend of mine. You've got Lacey Stokes. Got second time she won the newcomer of the week. She's a Mount Vernon
Yeah.
kid that where that's my alma mater, and I knew her parents really well. But Lacey's always wanted to be a Bear. She comes in from Missouri Southern now, and she's getting that opportunity, and she's proving that it wasn't a fluke what she did at Missouri Southern.
Well, that's what I was going to say. She was all world at Missouri Southern, and now her game is emerging as the season goes on there for Beth Cunningham's Lady Bears, and looking forward to seeing them. I was telling you before we started, I'm coming down to work for the Valley for the conference opener between Northern Iowa and the Lady Bears here in about a week and a half. And Northern Iowa, wow! I mean, what a crazy shock! They are one win so far. I think they have the second or third toughest schedule for the entire of all of women's college basketball, Northern Iowa. They've been hit with injuries as well. Their all conference player, Grace Buffelli, is out right now with a shoulder earlier in the season. They had, key people out as well. They're starting to get healthier, but they've got to get Grace Buffelli back. So I'm working on getting to know the Lady Bears and the Panthers from Northern Iowa. Right now, I'm writing up my Christmas wishes for the Missouri Valley Conference. Most of them relate to health and those kinds of things. I like to try to do some things that are seasonal. I just later today, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be talking with Hunter Tickle, who is the beat writer for the Indiana State Sycamores. Obviously, they've won 10 in a row. They're 11-1. They're like 14 or 15 in the national evaluation tool, starting to turn some heads. I think this week they finally got their first vote in the national polls. They're like, one of those teams receiving a vote. So working on some of those kinds of things. People, go ahead.
No, I didn't say anything. That was just
Yeah, people that know my site know that we've been covering the Ohio Valley Conference. Lindenwood was there with the Bears Tuesday, and the Missouri Valley Conference, and been exclusively on the men's side. And this year we've been trying to dip our toe into the women's world. I just interviewed Bart Brooks, the head coach at Belmont, maybe a week or so ago, and I did interview Coach the off season and Coach Warren at Northern Iowa in the off season, and so getting to announce some of those games as well. So we're trying to kind of get trained or taught about the women's side of the Missouri Valley Conference right now.
If the fans out there that are watching and they want to make a Christmas list for the Bears and Dana Ford, is it Matthew Lee getting healthy and staying healthy? What are one or two things there on the men's side and maybe even the women's side that you look at and you think, hey, if these things happen, it's really going to increase their chances to really perform well in the second half?
Well, I do think it circles around Matthew Lee for sure. And then once he gets back in the lineup, then who is playing and when and what kind of situations? I think it might take them a minute to figure all of that out as well. But another guy that I keep waiting to emerge there is Tyler Bay, who is he played for the elite program, and I just was expecting more of him. That doesn't mean he won't be great. I just have been expecting more of him. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm a big Donovan Clay fan. He's from our area here, Alton, Illinois, just across the river from where I live in St. Louis. And Donovan Clay is one of those guys that you can miss and not know how special he is. He does so many good things, winning plays, like as they say. He's a great defender, outstanding rebounder. He can handle the rock and score it. And I think he goes underappreciated because his numbers don't blow up. But one of the things I put together is I really want to see Chance Moore get a couple of 30-point games. I just want to see him blow up. I just like his game, and I'd love to just see him explode a little bit. For the Lady Bears, as I've been looking at them and their, the resumes for those young ladies, Raka and some of the others, they're good basketball players, and they haven't played a ton of games. Lots of teams have played 8, 9, 10 games. Lady Bears have only played 7 going into the Lady Bear Classic this week. And so I think Coach Cunningham is taking her time and putting that team together. And I think this week, good competition at the Lady Bear Classic will be a good kind of foundational building kind of thing before they head into the Missouri Valley Conference race. Beth Cunningham, her time at Notre Dame, her time at Duke. I mean, she's a lady that knows how to win, knows how to coach winners. And so I'm super excited. I think they won 14 games in the Valley last year. Obviously, a little bit of a different roster. It's going to be interesting to see just how the Lady Bears fare this year because they've been a little uneven, but it'll be fun to watch.
What are your plans for the holidays here?
We do tons of family things, and we take a little time off. I'm actually involved in full-time church ministry. That's what I do more than I do anything else. So we've got a number of church activities, some youth activities, and those kinds of things. But I kind of section it off. I draw big black lines, and like, here's the family time, and that's what I'll be doing on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But then right after that, I've got a camp for about 150 kids in our gym here at the church, and then heavy into the conference season is my most favorite time of the year, is to get deeply engaged in the conference basketball season for both the OVC and the MVC.
Again, visiting with Father Harry Schroeder here from ValleyHoopsInsider.com. And a little known fact is that Father Harry and my father share the same high school. My dad
There you go.
graduated from Afton High School in 1961. And I'm
Wow.
sure, because he's 80, I mean, he's probably, you're probably maybe mid 70s, where he was way earlier than you.
Yeah, I graduated in 75. My sister graduated in 67. So yeah, we're deep Afton roots here in St. Louis.
And what do you, outside of the college basketball, the Ozark Valley, or I'm sorry, the Ohio Valley Conference, the Missouri Valley Conference, what do you kind of else pay attention to? I know, being in St. Louis, are you a big Cardinal fan?
Well, of course, I've been a Cardinal fan all my life. I was telling somebody the other day that, I was at Stan Musial's last game in 1963. I was at the last game of the season in 1964 when the Cardinals won the pennant. I went to World Series games in 1967, 1968 when I was just a little piker. So yeah, I mean, I just have loved Cardinal baseball my whole life, and been a diehard Cardinal fan. I can't even understand somebody liking some other team. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And and so yeah, I love the Cardinals, and we watched the Blues some, and back a while ago, I used to work for a regional radio network, and so I covered the Blues, the Rams, the Cardinals for that regional network. I was at all the games, all the practices, all the press conferences, all those kinds of things. So for a long time, I was deeply embedded with all those teams and programs, and St. Louis University basketball as well. And the further you get away from it, right, when it's not your job, it's now you're just a fan. It took me a while to get used to being a fan again when I quit doing all that stuff. But yeah, we love our Cardinals. We take the whole family to a handful of games every year, and they're all grown, but they all live and die with the Cardinals too.
It's the only team I live and die with, unless I've got blood on the floor, nieces, nephews, coaches, whatever. I don't really particularly root for anyone. I root for Dana Ford because I'm a huge fan of Dana Ford and the Bears, the Bears, and I really enjoy visiting with Dana at our quarterback, or I'm sorry, our tip-off club meetings, as well as Art Haynes. Art Haynes goes and MCs it, and it's good to see him getting out and about a little bit more as well.
Absolutely. We pray for Art every day. And Art's a good friend and a Hall of Fame broadcaster, obviously, and a guy that just has a gigantic heart. And so, yeah, we've been rallying people, for the last 11, 12 months, 13 months, whatever it's been now, to pray for Art every day. I often will just tweet out on Twitter, hashtag prayers for Art Haynes, and wear a wristband that we created last year that is now faded because I never take it off, that says hashtag prayers for Art Haynes, and made hundreds of them, gave them away to people at the Missouri Valley at Arch Madness last spring. It's amazing. And, I got to know Dana when he was at Tennessee State because, of course, I was covering the OVC then as well. And just love his intensity, his character, the way he tries to deeply impact the young men that he's coaching. And, yeah, vast respect for Dana Ford.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, as we head in here to the holiday season, celebrate the birth of Christ here on the 25th, Christmas Day. What do you have any particular traditions that you go through, with regards to Christmas?
Well, we do. Like, we get together on Christmas Eve and we do a lot of fun and games. Then Christmas morning, we do more of what everybody does, right? Gifts, presents, trees, stockings, all that kind of stuff. But we sit down and we read the story. We read the account in the Gospel of Luke and the Gospel of Matthew, and talk about what Jesus coming really, what difference that makes in our life, should make in our life, and how we need to look to him and nobody else to find our way toward the Lord, toward God himself. And so we do that, obviously this year, Christmas Eve is a Sunday. And so we'll be helping lead services on Christmas Eve as well. Last Sunday, I got to preach to our church about Jesus being the light of the world, and just the idea that he would come and bring light to my heart to rescue me from how cruddy I really am on my own is so hopeful and so helpful for my life and for the people around me.
Very good. Well, again, Father Harry, we greatly appreciate you taking time here over our holidays. We look forward to doing this again, especially with you being an Afton graduate. I was telling my dad about it, and he goes, "Well, he can't be as old as me." And I said,
No,
"Dad, there's so many people as old as you." And I actually had breakfast with him this morning, and he does not miss the tip off club, and he really enjoys being around that kind of stuff as well. But Father Harry, again, ValleyHoopsInsider.com. Give a shout out to your Twitter handle real quick. I know I've retweeted some things on Scoreboard Guy and the Missouri Sports Network, but shoot it out there.
yeah, it's at Father Harry One. I think it is on Twitter. Actually, I think there's a one at the end. At Father Harry One. Yeah, I used to work in country music radio, and one day somebody said, "Are you like a minister or something?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I didn't like go to radio stations and say, by the way, I'm an ordained minister." And so the host of the show said, "Oh, well, Father Harry's in the house." And so people all over St. Louis know me as Father Harry because of my country music radio background days. We won a CMA award and had a lot of fun back in the day.
Outstanding. Again, hey, thank you so much. I look forward to doing this again here after the holidays. We'll catch up, and maybe things have changed, maybe turned around for the Bears, and the Lady Bears maybe keep rolling. But I appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Love what you do. We were talking last week. We used to do kind of a big scoreboard kind of thing on radio back in the late 90s, early 2000s here in St. Louis covering high school sports. So I love what you do in that regard too, pumping out, we love the prep scene and really believe all those young men and ladies deserve lots of accolades and praise. And I'm glad you guys are doing that too.
You bet. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, you're watching and listening to the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be here, be safe, and be here tomorrow.